we have a city called X. If we drop a nuclear bomb on it, a massive explosion will occur, completely destroying buildings and wiping out millions of people in an instant. Even those who survive the direct blast will suffer for the rest of their lives, because their bodies will be full of radiation. Before we explain how your body deals with this kind of radiation, you need to understand what a nuclear bomb is and why it kills thousands or even millions of people in the blink of an eye. First, some people think that atomic bombs and hydrogen bombs are the same. That's true to an extent. Both are weapons of mass destruction that use nuclear energy in their attacks. But at their core, they're not the same. Hydrogen bombs are much stronger, up to hundreds or thousands of times more powerful than atomic bombs. The difference becomes clear once you understand what a nuclear bomb really is. Nuclear weapons in general use nuclear energy to create explosions. This energy is stored in the atomic nucleus, and it's released during nuclear reactions or radioactive decay. If you follow my channel closely, you'll remember we've talked about similar processes happening in the core of stars. But today, we're stepping away from space topics to talk about man-made nuclear destruction. So now that you understand how nuclear weapons generate explosions, let's see what makes atomic and hydrogen bombs different. Let's start with the atomic bomb. It usually looks like a rounded, extended cylinder. Nothing special on the outside. But the real danger is inside. To cause a nuclear explosion, a specific type of chain reaction has to occur by splitting heavy atomic nuclei. There are several elements that can undergo this kind of reaction, but uranium-235 is the most commonly used in nuclear weapons. There's also uranium-238 and uranium-234. These numbers show different isotopes of the same element, uranium. But only uranium-235 can be used effectively for a powerful explosion. To make an atomic bomb work, uranium-235 must be enriched to at least 80%, and this takes a lot of time. If there's a mistake during this process, even after years of enrichment, all the effort can be wasted, and you have to start over. Now, how does the actual explosion happen? A critical mass of the nuclear material is gathered in one place. Once this mass is reached, a nuclear chain reaction begins, releasing a huge amount of energy and creating a powerful explosion. But one critical mass isn't enough. You usually need 4 to 5 times that amount to get a real explosion. As for the hydrogen bomb, it cannot work without an atomic bomb inside it. The atomic bomb provides the heat and pressure needed to start the hydrogen fusion. Hydrogen bombs rely on nuclear fusion, while atomic bombs rely on nuclear fission. The hydrogen bomb uses the atomic bomb in its core to trigger the fusion of hydrogen atoms, producing vastly more energy, reaching up to 1 megaton. This kind of energy could potentially destroy the Earth if released all at once. Now, how do these weapons affect human beings? Like I said at the beginning, the main issue is radiation. Believe it or not, our bodies are exposed to radiation every day. If you walk outside, you're exposed to it. If you watch TV, you're exposed. Even eating a banana exposes you to some radiation. But this everyday radiation is extremely small compared to the radiation from a nuclear bomb. Radiation is measured in units called sieverts, or the smaller unit rem. The average person absorbs about 0.62 rem per year. But let's imagine you're 1 kilometer away from a nuclear explosion in a city like New York. First, you'll see a blinding flash of light, followed by intense heat and a powerful shock wave. Your body will absorb an enormous amount of radiation, between 500 and 1,000 rems, which is equivalent to eating 3,000 to 100,000 bananas at once. At that level of exposure, you'll die within seconds. If you're standing outside, you'll be hit with 800 to 1,000 rem, and your body will literally vaporize instantly. Scientists say it happens so fast that your brain won't even process the pain. If you're hiding inside a building, the explosion will shatter windows and glass will fly into your skin at high speed. Fire will be everywhere. Surviving that is nearly impossible. But if you do survive, your body will be severely damaged by radiation. Like a mini atomic bomb went off inside your body, destroying your cells and tissues. Hours later, you will experience vomiting, fever, and headaches, symptoms worse than COVID. Radiation triggers the nervous system, making you feel extremely sick. From 10 days to 20 years later, you could suffer severe side effects like violent diarrhea due to destroyed intestinal cells, radiation syndrome. If the damage is too extreme, you may die within 10 to 20 days. Your bone marrow will also be damaged, meaning your body can't produce platelets, and you'll bleed to death slowly. In men, reproductive cells will be damaged, making many infertile. You'll also lose your hair because the roots are destroyed. After 2 months, if you were close to the explosion, you'll likely die due to bone marrow failure, which destroys your immune system, making it impossible to fight off infections. We haven't even talked about radiation poisoning for people far away from the blast. 8 years after the explosion, people outside the main blast zone can still absorb 10 to 20 rems. This is less than people at ground zero, but it just means the effects take longer to appear. Eventually, you'll most likely develop leukemia, blood cancer. People exposed to high radiation levels have a 55% higher risk of developing cancer than those who weren't exposed. These effects can continue 40+ years after exposure. Even if someone doesn't get cancer within 2, 7, or 8 years, they could still get it at any stage of life. Exposure to 100 rems increases your chances of getting any type of cancer, stomach, lung, liver, or others, by more than 50%. Let's take the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986 as an example. I made a full video on this. On April 26, 1986, an explosion at the Chernobyl power plant in Ukraine released tons of radioactive material into the atmosphere, 400 times more than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It's like eating 6 trillion bananas. As a result, 28 workers died within 3 months. Around 140 others developed severe radiation illness. If you were one of the 600 workers who survived, you likely still absorbed enough radiation to haunt you for life. Even if you lived far from the site, radioactive particles traveled by wind into the air you breathed. If food was contaminated, radiation entered your body too. Even animals who ate from the contaminated environment became a danger to survivors. That's why the area around Chernobyl was completely evacuated, turning it into a ghost city. Over time, radiation levels decreased. When radioactive particles lose energy, they become more stable and emit less radiation. That's what happened in Chernobyl. Today, the area is safer than before, but still not entirely safe. If you stayed there for a full year, you'd absorb around 90 rems of radiation. To fully clean this place of radiation might take until the year 2100. This episode shows how dangerous radiation really is. Even solar radiation could destroy us if Earth didn't have a protective magnetic field. Without it, solar rays would destroy our DNA, and all 8 billion people would get cancer instantly.